if you want to succeed in life, I'm about to give you like the most crucial piece of advice. And if you can't even listen for like 10 minutes, success is not even on your radar at all because you have the attention span of like a turtle or something. Nonetheless, just listen up 10 minutes quickly. The number one reason you can't succeed in any endeavor in life, whatever it may be, is simply because you are distracted. Given that we are all humans, I do so much research on like human psychology and like how our brain works and stuff. And one of the like all of us are like naturally curious and we all kind of gravitate towards novelty, as in like what is novelty, like anything that's like new, anything that's shiny material, right? Whereas like say you just got a car and you this was a car you wanted for a very long time, you'll drive it for a week or 2 weeks and you'll be like, I'm kind of bored of this car. You see like say you got that BMW that you always wanted, you'll see a Porsche, you'll see a Lamborghini, you'll see a Benz, whatever, and you'll get distracted, right? And that's novelty playing in the back of your mind, right? Saying like, oh, that looks better than what we have. Even though all you're really doing is like, you just got this, you wanted it for so long, you did all the research on this car that you wanted, but because something else looks brand new, you want that instead because you can only measure the upside rather than the downside, which is a very important distinction that like really helps with the decision making, which like I didn't do for the longest time until I learned it from like a very big entrepreneur, Alex Ramosi, where it's like, when you see something better, you only seem to like be like, oh, that could give me the thing that I want, right? Like that feeling, but you don't seem to measure the downside. And you could do this like this goes for any endeavor in life, right? Even with women, right? Say you were single for a very long time and you're like, oh, I really want this girl. You finally get that girl, you guys are getting close or whatever, and then you see like all these other women where you're like, oh, that girl looks good too, that girl looks good too. Oh, I can see myself with that girl, right? You might have this newfound confidence like, oh, you just bought this car, you just got this girl, you can get that other car, you can get this other girl, but you're not measuring the downside. You're only just seeing like, oh, like that car, I would look so good in that car, or that girl would look so good with me or whatever, but you're not measuring what you would lose with what you currently have, right? The current car that you have, like you wanted it for so long, it has like the exterior that you like, the interior that you like, the girl is doing stuff that you like, you guys are having good conversation. It's like, how do you know that you'll have that exact same thing with that other novelty thing that you want, like that other entity? And this goes for everything. Like it's so weird because you have to understand everything in life works, and like if you want success in whatever it may be, you need to understand how to like cultivate focus, how to like cut out distractions. So like let's just give like another broad example, right? The gym or fitness, right? For you to actually get healthy and be fit doesn't mean you have to like go work out, right? There's other ways to get fit. You could start jogging, you could start biking, you could literally just have a diet, right? There's so many ways to get fit, and obviously it depends on what your goals, right? If you want to have like an aesthetic physique, which is like what I wanted, and I didn't even realize it, but that's why like I built out the course, link in the description if you actually want to like get in shape, like have like an aesthetic physique which like attracts women. But back to the main point, right? Where it's like, if you want that, you need to obviously train in the gym, right? You're not going to really get the aesthetic physique from like jogging or biking or even dieting. It's not enough, right? You need muscle definition to be added onto your like body. But if you just keep trying every single diet, you keep trying out all these different types of like sports or routines, like you're not going to get anything because you're not going deep enough for one thing to really like flourish. So it's like, if you are like, okay, I want an aesthetic physique, let me follow this program or whatever, follow it for 3 months, 6 months, a year. That's how you actually get results, right? If you follow just a diet, let's just say you only follow a diet for like a week or even a workout program, it does not matter, right? If you only follow it for a day, a week, a month, you're not doing it for long enough for you to actually see sustainable, real results. So then you go, oh, this thing doesn't work. But it's like, it does work. If it worked for another human, it will work for you. I'm telling you, like, as long as the science makes sense, the science makes sense. Like the whole reason like all these like nutritionists and like doctors and like trainers push this like carnivore diet or like keto diet, it's like all those diets are the exact same thing, but all they're really doing is just like making sure that you eat less calories than your like maintenance is. And so like everybody has a maintenance level of calories. If you eat less than that maintenance, you lose weight. If you eat more than that, you gain weight. And like, you know, gaining weight would be like people who are trying to bulk, cutting would be for people who are trying to lose weight, right? That's all it really is. But what I realized even recently, it's like the whole concept of like distractions and like decision fatigue, they're heavily connected. Because like if I told you to just do this one thing and I told you to do this for 3 months and you had no other choice, you would do that thing for 3 months and you would get good at it. Like you don't understand how fast you as a human would improve in a singular skill if you just had sole focus. But if I said, hey, like follow this diet a little bit, follow this diet a little bit, follow this diet a little bit, or like get with this girl, talk to this girl, talk to that girl, talk to that girl, you would not get depth with any of them, right? think about how crazy that is, right? If you think that the more volume you have, the more experience you're getting, or like the better you might get, like the better like you would think that you have higher probability in success because you have now 3 tickets, right? Essentially, like say you wanted a girlfriend and you were talking to 3 girls, and you would think, oh, if I talk to 3 girls, I have a higher probability of making one of them like my girlfriend. But it's like that's not how that would work at all, because you splitting your focus is now, instead of one girl getting 100% of your attention, your validation, your compliments, whatever it may be, your like time, energy, and money, you're giving 33% to each. So then now none of them are going to end up being with you, because they're going to be like, oh, you're not giving me enough, you're not giving me enough, you're not giving me enough. Right? Understand what I'm saying? Like, think about, that's the exact same thing with different diets, right? If you're not solely focused on one diet, you're not going to get any results. And so with all of these diets, with all of these girls, whatever it may be, even when I was in the grocery shop yesterday, and I was looking at Target, and I was trying to buy like granola bars, and there was like so many options that I didn't buy any of them. And it's because like our brains are wired to like have a certain amount of energy and willpower to make decisions. So when you have too many options within your like decision framework, like the confinements of what decision you have to make, it's too much. It's literally, your brain can't compute, especially for my brain personally. I know my brain like runs simulations. I think a lot of people's brains do this, where you're like, if I get this is how it will be. If I get with this is how it will be. If I get with this is how it will be. But you're not like measuring upside or downside. You're just measuring like what could happen. But like what could happen is like there's like a million different things that could possibly happen. So it's like that's not a good way to make that decision. So it's like if I said, like there was like 5-10 different brands. If I just said I only want this brand and I only want this flavor, I could only look at like maybe like 2 options, right? Like maybe I just only wanted something with like cashews, and there would only be like 2 options rather than like 10 of like just granola bars. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you want to almost make sure that your decisions have constraints on them, because only when they have constraints can you actually make a proper decision without your brain like getting stimulated, overwhelmed, and you make no decision. And that also helps with having no distractions, right? Constraints, decision making, distractions, that are all interconnected. And that's what I'm telling you, where it's like if you want to win, if you want to succeed, if you want to actually like flourish in something, you need sole focus. You need like singularity focus. Don't be paying attention to everything. Don't like, if you're trying to get into business, don't try to run 5 different businesses and be like, oh yeah, like as long as one of them work, as long as one of them pay me money, it's like I'll be successful. No, it's like you're not making any, like you'll be making shit money in 5 different models rather than just making a lot of money in one. Don't try to get with 5 girls. Get with one and try to like get really committed to her, because depth is more important. Like depth and direction is more important than like intensity and volume. Okay, always remember that. That goes for everything, even with your workouts, where it's like if you just first started going to the gym and you try to like max out your volume, max out your intensity, you would lose. You would burn out, because it's like you're doing too much too soon and you don't even understand like what good form looks like, where you're headed, none of that. So it's like if you start like following programs like that, then you're obviously gonna fail. That's like my program. I completely designed it for like people who are just starting out, people who want like an aesthetic physique, people who are like, you know, as long as I get if I just do this consistently, even if I do the bare minimum, I will still get results, because that's how our brain operates. If you are like someone like me, where it's like you want results, but you know you can't do it, like you're almost like a perfectionist, where you're almost too scared to start because you're like, oh, I don't know if I have the best form or the best routine. It's like that's like all of us, right? Like all of us are like somewhat like procrastinating due to perfectionism. So it's like you want to make sure you can limit yourself to like where, as long as I do these things and I do them relatively correctly, just the bare minimum, I will still yield results. Why? Because it's like consistency is more important than intensity, right? Your direction is more important than speed. As like if you ever read like Naval's book on like the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, he talks about that a lot, where it's like it's more important to take as much time as you need to go in the right direction than to speed in the wrong direction, right? You don't want to go 500 miles per hour in the wrong direction and have to like loop back around, right? It doesn't make sense. So take your time, understand what is it that you actually truly want, so that you can apply the constraints, you can have confinements, and you can cut out all the other distractions. Because once you cut out distractions, everything becomes so singularly focused that you can use all your brain's power to solve this one problem. And if you could do that, I swear, like winning becomes so fast and inevitable, like you wouldn't even believe it. Most of the time people don't succeed because they don't even start, and they don't start because they're overwhelmed, they have too much decisions to make, they have no energy, no willpower. So get on paper, get so focused, get tunnel vision on exactly what you want, and figure out what things do I need to do to get this to happen. Cut out all distractions. And if you just simply do that for whatever endeavor, you will win in life. I'm telling you, in the end, we're all gonna fucking win.